Hello, this is PSKV coming to you in the comfort of your home right now, in the comfort of your home. All right, now, I'm talking about something that is very important, to some of us, and maybe for a few and maybe for many. But the main thing that I'm talking about is New York City. Yes, New York City with the high rent, baby. All right, now, with new gentrification coming in, and we not mad with you, gentrification, but you got to know that the blessings that was here before us, and also to know that we are open and ready for the new development, and hoping you are too. But all this high rent, and poor landlords that is in the remaining buildings that not doing anything, we want newness. We want newness, and we do not want to have slumlords. We do not want to have the craziness in this here metropolitan city. So we are looking at it that now gentrification, we all got to come together. I'm talking about all of us that already been here as landmarks, as the gentrification is now have arrived. So we got to do our thing. We got to come together. We got to come together with negotiation. I'm talking about now we are all together as one. But the more we come in and settle with the high increase of rent and not coming together, they say enough is enough. Now some of you coming in and all your money is practically going into rent. And some of you have to live overcrowded because you have to now live with a roommate because of the simple fact that you cannot even afford the rent. That's another thing. All right, now, we got to come together to look at this on the full plane, to know that we have the rent that is now coming up to $1,400. We could say that's a baby amount because we got rent that costs $2,700, $3,500, and it could only be 2 bedrooms. And what they did, let me tell you what they did now. Gentrification, some of you have to understand, especially with the older buildings. Now the new buildings coming up, that's another story. But now the older buildings, they have went in, gutted out the apartment, and just went over there to Home Depot or they have went to Lowe's and went and gathered up some new supplies and probably caught it on sale. You understand me? And went in there and said, let's put some new floors down. Well, you could go on YouTube and you can find out how to put on new floors. I tell you that. If you watch the home channel, you can find out how to do that too. But now what they do, they put all that little shiny stuff up in there, fix it up a little bit. And now they said, now do you see how beautiful this is? And they don't even put the quality of living up in there. A lot of you not even got marble, countertops. You got artificial countertops, that compressed wood. And you over there paying $3,000 for some compressed wood. You don't have no mahogany cabinets. You got some compressed wood that painted like mahogany cabinets. And you paying this here huge amount of rent. You understand me? So now let me tell you something. You don't have this here good faucet now. You went and got a little shiny faucet, put it up in there, a little shiny sink, and look all right, good. Everything look good. But it's not the best quality. But yet you paying for things that is not even in the best quality because it looks shiny, it's clean, it look good, it's impressive. Oh, the bus stop is right there. The train stop is right there. And the landmark, we know these things, but we was living in the slum of the slums of that situation where landlords could not pay the rent. So now we're going to come in real quickly and talk about, Apostle, how did this come about? How did this come about? Well, I'm going to come and tell you one thing now. I'm going to take you all the way down to the 80s. It was in the 70s and the 80s, but the majority of it is in the 80s. When the 80s came in, and now we turn around and we got Section 8. When the Section 8 came in, and these apartment buildings, these old buildings now, these buildings of these old slumlords, and they learned about, well, we can rise this rent up. So Section 8 have a part of this also. They have done a lot of disjustice because they came in and paid these landlords after they would come in, fix a little apartment, apartment, fix a little things up, and next thing you know, they said this is poor, impoverished people, so now they getting Section 8 to help pay their rent, and now we're going to up the rent to, to $1,500. We're going to up the rent to $1,700, $1,800, now all the way to $2,000. You understand? This is what they did. So now Section 8 comes in and says, okay, no problem. This is the government. We're going to pay the bill for them because they need these apartments. But these apartments was poorly renovated. Poorly renovated. It was not into the blessed order. Poorly renovated, meaning that they went and got any strap they could get shining up. Huge amount of rent. These Jews will come in and throw you out of your apartment, put you out in the cold, and then come in and now put you in shelters, and then go right back behind the shelter, buy the shelter, and take over that too. Now, this is a takeover situation. If you are blind to this, this is crazy. If you do not see the situation that is going on in New York City. New York City is not being controlled and not being run, you understand me, in the fullness of the order. It is run by the religious institutions, mostly by Jews that owns these apartments, own a whole lot of stuff now, but they said they love God. And the main one that owning these houses is the Hasidic Jews. The Hasidic Jews are the one that owning these buildings and will throw your behind in the street. They will lie and say they did not get their rent and know they got the rent, and lying and say they did not get the rent. Now you got to go crazy all over the place, go to court, fight to say you gave them the rent. You understand me? And if you do not know your rights, they will bamboozle you right out to that door. They will bamboozle you and put you out for a little bit of nothing with lies and deception. So that's why you got to come on, babies, and you got to recognize the situation. You got to recognize the gameplay. You got to know what's going on before the enemy comes in and devour you. Well, in Revelation, it tells you that about the so-called Jews, where they showing their self-approval, that their Revelation prophecy is in the full order. Because the Bible tells you that in Revelation that there are those, and when you start reading in Revelation about the seven churches, and it tells you immediately that there are the church that say they are Jews and they are not, and they are from the synagogue of Satan. They are not Jews. They are the what? Jews that say they are Jews, and they are from the synagogue of Satan. And that is the truth, because they will throw you out in the street. How can you tell me you believe in the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac? You hear me? I say it again. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. How can you believe in your God, which is supposed to be my God, which I know my God is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And I know I believe in the universal Father. And I know good and well my Father says that we will have prosperity and riches, and that we will not, and we will be the lenders. You understand me? And we will be able to give and not borrow. And we will be able to give and not be able to put the people into depression. So this is a lying spirit that say they are Jews, and they are saying they are Jews and putting people into depression. They do not care. They could tell I say this real fast right now, because they have even had their wives going walking into the welfare center, the same thing as them. Both of the husband, wife, and the children will walk into the welfare center. And I tell you, about 10 of them will be on the case. And they have made up cases on this situation. I'm telling you, they will make up cases, birth certificates, and all kinds of stuff. And they good with that. But yet they say they love God with all their heart, soul, mind, and strength. And they have Jacob, and they have Joshua, they have Sarah, they have everybody named on them papers. And they will go out there, walk out there with food stamps that is humongous amount of food stamps, humongous amount of money that can pay a whole rent without them have to go and suffer where others have to suffer to get their rent up. Now, I tell you, babies, my sweet babies, my sweet darlings, you better wake yourself up. You better wake yourself up and rise up in New York City, because New York City right now is being overflooded with nothing but scams, and I'm telling you, they jamming you against the wall, and they telling you that everything is all right, and they are lying to you. They are lying to you. It is not all right. Our government got to come in and see that this is nothing but a scam of control. It is not where the government is controlling New York City. Oh no, the Jews is controlling it. I'm talking about the aesthetic Jews is controlling it. We are not talking about all the Jews. We're talking about those with the curly hair and the black coats on, baby. You understand me? The Matrix showed you that it was Jews that had them black coats on. You understand me? That is the Matrix for you. It's a Matrix that tearing it down and destroying, I'm telling you, the order. That's why they see with the laws that have been changed, and also with high rent, where it take 3 and 4 people to live in one apartment. Yes, because the rent can go all the way up to $1,500 to $3,500. And yes, amazingly, some people is paying $4,000. Yes, to just live in an apartment, not a penthouse, but an apartment. Now we need that what? The Lord to now hit now that come on now. We need laws to be changed. Oh yes, we do. And we need it right now for those that are working class. And we talk about the middle class all the time and how much their taxes supposed to be helping us, but we have to know that right now that the apartments and different things in New York have went sky high, and other people in different states don't even recognize this, and we are American citizens too. But sometimes we act like we living in another third world country when we living in New York, and we got to keep it hush hush. Don't say no word now. That is what they try to tell us all the time when it comes down to housing laws. So now New York City, we got to wake up. It's not about gentrification. We are all in this together. It's about all together in one basket. Yes, the gentrification is coming in, and a lot of landmark things are changing. Landmarks that we could remember when our grandparents and our mothers and daddies all was operating in that area. All right, now, this is PSKV coming to you in the comfort of your home, telling you about these laws. That's right, New York City, Wall Street, baby, Wall Street. And Wall Street will also collapse. I hope you remember that when it was coming down to all that fraud going on, you know, when it was taking place, and they thought they had the pie in the sky, you know, that pie in the sky, and it was all about a lie. And next thing you know, that the mortgage companies was taking advantage of people saying that they had 5% loans, and next thing you know, the equity, the principal, and all of that, they thought they had a flex rate, and next thing you know, it was not, it was flex. Well, we got to talk about that thing to know what the difference is when you have a flex rate or a fixed rate. So many had got them flex rates, and them flex rates start coming up, and they have only 5% and 8%, you know, dealing with the taxes, of dealing with the housing, and not the housing, but the house that they have purchased through the mortgage companies. And then Wall Street collapsed and then overturned those mortgage into 18%, 21%, 23%. Oh yes, when you had a $500 mortgage to pay back, next thing you know, you looked in the mail, you had $3,000 to pay back, and next thing you know, I can't even afford this. Next thing you know, you was in default. Oh yeah, default. Law breakers. That's what they was. Next thing you know, that Wall Street was falling down, collapsing, and they wasn't even prepared for that. So that's what's going on right now in New York City with the housing laws. They are not even prepared to know that right now, that New York City right now is being what? It's collapsing with what? The housing laws. The housing laws, meaning that right now they done went there going stone crazy. And Section 8 also, if you don't have the history of Section 8, that helped it too, because with Section 8, it helped it say, well, oh, if the apartment's all right, you can rent this apartment. And the landlord can say, well, we hype the rent because we put shiny things into the apartment. So New York, let's stop looking at the shiny things and start getting real to know that we have a responsibility to know that these slum lords is just putting shiny things in and still not fixing up the apartment to the extreme, but charging $3,000 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, just calling it that it's metropolitan. Because especially in Brooklyn now, Brooklyn became now another part of Manhattan. Okay, let us wake up and let us see and let us smell the roses in the coffee. That's right.